The way Illinois law works is that the State Board of Elections has the authority to remove somebody from the ballot, which they met earlier this year and decided not to do that because they didn't think it was their jurisdiction to do so. The recourse for that is to go and file in Illinois Circuit Court, which was done in Cook County, and that judge ruled today that Trump should be removed from the ballot. This is only the first step of the process. It's almost certain that Trump's attorneys will appeal this, and then it will go up to the Illinois Appellate Court in the first district. And then ultimately, it can make its way to the Illinois Supreme Court, who can decide on that. And at the meantime, on the federal level, as you probably know, the U.S. Supreme Court has heard arguments on whether Trump can stay on the ballot in Colorado. And the decision there would, if a decision is made by the U.S. Supreme Court, would supersede any lower court's rulings. The U.S. Supreme Court is not really a lobbying entity or one that you can sort of put public pressure on. That's the beauty of our Constitution, that Supreme Court justices are appointed for life. So at the end of the day, whatever the U.S. Supreme Court decides will be the decision that all states will have to abide by.
Of course, this issue more generally with Maine, Colorado, has been recently argued in front of the Supreme Court. So really what I foresee is that most likely he will probably remain on the primary ballot overall for the upcoming Super Tuesday election. But the Supreme Court really will have to decide whether he continues to remain on ballots throughout the United States.
When the State Board of Elections did not remove him from the ballot, the attorneys against Trump for his removal from the ballot in Illinois filed an expedited hearing, expedited case. And because primary ballots in Illinois, early voting is already occurring. And so that's why the judge had to rule so swiftly on this because of that, the early voting taking place. And as you know, the primary is just a couple weeks away on Tuesday, March 19th.
Well, I think the other thing that came up today is just not only about this ruling, was the other the Supreme Court deciding to hear Trump's appeal of whether he is immune from charges related to the January 6th insurrection. Now, that won't be argued until April, and that has broader implications for whether even Trump goes to trial or when he goes to trial for those charges. And he could be in the middle of a federal criminal trial during the height of the campaign season come this fall, depending on the outcome of that. So today, between both Illinois locally and this national ruling, this really heats up sort of the legal quagmire that Trump finds himself in.
We've never faced this situation in the United States before, where a former president and a presidential candidate is being removed by states from the ballot, mainly because of a claim that he violated the 14th Amendment on January 6th with the insurrection against the Capitol. And so most, I think, judges and even legislators, the whole process for elections in Illinois is to let candidates stay on the ballot and let the public decide. So I do think Trump's legal team has an argument to be made there. However, the question which the judge ruled on whether Trump has to be removed from the ballot is because he what is being predicated that he was violated that 14th Amendment, which we've never had a case on in the United States. So we're all in unprecedented, uncharted waters on this one. And so he remains on the ballot because his ballot's already printed. What would happen is he would get votes. But if this ruling were to stand, those votes would be invalidated.
I think there's a couple different impacts here. One, it further incentivizes the Supreme Court to rule quickly on this question of the insurrection and ballot access for Trump. It was just 2 states, Maine and Colorado. Now it's 3. Maybe it could be more. So I think it gives some urgency to them resolving this legally. Overall, it could be a boost to Haley's rhetoric, Nikki Haley's rhetoric, in terms of her being a more viable candidate than Trump in the general election, does not have the same legal concerns. Republican voters don't have to be worried about her being knocked off the ballot or being possibly prosecuted for insurrection or other crimes. So this helps her rhetoric in that regard. Overall, though, Illinois is not a competitive state in the upcoming general election. And even if for some reason Trump remained off the ballot, even in the general election, but was still running more broadly nationally, it wouldn't necessarily change any outcome, since Illinois is pretty reliably safe bet for Biden in the fall.